What do you know about the phases of word recognition? Explain your answer. There are three phases of word recognition, including the phase of initial lexical contact, the phase of selection, and the phase of integration. The first is the phase of initial lexical contact. When you hear someone speak, the brain receives the sound and breaks it down into smaller pieces of sound. After that, these sounds are matched with words already stored in the mental lexicon. At this stage, the brain begins to guess what word is being spoken by activating several possibilities based on sound, meaning, and context of the sentence. The second phase is the phase of selection. After several words appear as possibilities, the brain then chooses the one that best matches the sound and context being heard. The third phase is the phase of integration. After the appropriate word is selected, the brain integrates the meaning of the word into the overall meaning of the sentence. At this stage, we truly understand the speaker's intent. The second question is, what do you know about the parsing stage? What processes take place within the stages, and what types of knowledge does the mind need to go through the process? My answer is parsing is the stage of arranging the words we hear into sentences that have structure and meaning. Once the brain recognizes the words, it tries to arrange them according to grammar and understand the overall meaning of the sentence. In this stage, the brain connects words to each other according to grammatical rules, determines the function of words between subject, predicates, and objects, and assigns syntactic and semantic meaning based on structure and content. To go through these processes, the brain requires several types of language knowledge, such as lexical knowledge, syntactical knowledge, semantical knowledge, and pragmatical knowledge. The third question is, what do you know about the interpretation stage and discourse processing? My answer is, at this stage, the brain begins to integrate all the results of previous analysis to find the complete meaning and relationships between sentences in a conversation or text. So, this stage is the stage of understanding the overall meaning. The fourth question is, what do you know about the tripartite model in the interpretation stage? My answer is, the tripartite model explains that when we understand a speech, text, or conversation, the brain doesn't immediately grasp the full meaning in one go. Instead, the brain goes through three levels: surface level, propositional level, and situational level. Surface level. At this level, the brain only recognizes words and sounds by gathering the sounds and then arranging them into words and sentences that can be understood literally. Propositional level. At this level, the brain begins to understand the basic meaning of the sentences and concepts it to the linguistic context and prior knowledge. Situational level. At this level, the brain combines all linguistic and conceptual information to form a mental image of the situation in question by connecting the meaning to real world experiences as if the brain were imagining the situation. The last question is, in sum, can you explain the perception stage as a whole? My answer is yes, I can. The perception stage is the comprehensive process that occurs in the mind when someone listens and attempts to understand spoken language. This process begins when the brain receives sounds, then converts it into recognizable sounds. After that, the brain recognizes words from those sounds by matching them to the mental lexicon. Once words are recognized, the brain begins to organize them into coherent sentences, then seeks the overall meaning of the sentence or conversation. Finally, the brain connects all linguistic information and the context of the situation to truly understand the message being conveyed. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.